Dr. Bhatia said today that we have women from 66 different countries. And so we're going to start talking about lessons that we've learned. To share with you, we'll be asking some questions, and then for you to actually ask some questions as well. It is my privilege to introduce to you first Mrs. Nelius. Nelius is a chairperson of Kenya Reinsurance Corporate Limited. And I'd like you to share your thoughts on two questions and introduce yourself as well. So please introduce yourself first.
Good morning once again. I am a Kenyan. That Kenya is in East Africa. In case you think it's in South Africa, I've been asked by many people whether I come from South Africa. Kenya is in East Africa. I am a chairman of Parastatal. That's a government-owned entity, and it deals with reinsurance. I have done that job for 7 years. Professionally, I am a trained economist. I have been a career civil servant, and I worked with the government for 19 years.
Thank you very much, Nelius. And I apologize for not having your biography, but I want to share with the audience that in the book from Dr. Bhatia, there is a complete biography about Nelius, who is an absolutely amazing person. It's such an honor to be with you today with all my heart. Would you please share your experiences as a girl growing up in Kenya in the 60s and 70s?
For those of you who are familiar with most parts of Africa, you may know that most of the societies there didn't consider educating girls as a priority. So I would say I'm one of the privileged few, especially having gone to school in the 60s and the 70s, where the emphasis then was maybe for the boy child. However, I was privileged to have parents that didn't discriminate between their boys and girls, and I managed to go to school, and by God's grace, I passed and did well in such a way that I passed and managed to go up to university. At that point in time, as you grew, there was also others who had gone to school as well. I wouldn't say that I was among the first, not at that stage. But as a country, we also didn't have that many women, I would say, in high positions, and the few that were there or maybe overwhelmed by the kind of responsibilities. But over the years, things have changed, and the girl child has become important in my country. There was, in fact, a lot more concentration on the girl child, to an extent that at the moment, I think there is a hue and cry from the men that the boy child has been neglected. And they are trying maybe to take policies to be able to adjust and give the boy child a bit of a chance. Because the women in Kenya now have come up. This morning you saw that there were 3 of us from Kenya that were honored, and each of us is in a totally different field, and you are not honored because you have not performed, it's because of your performance. So as I have grown up in that kind of environment, I would like to say that as a leader, I have noticed that the confidence we instill in our children, be they boys, be they girls, is what determines who they become. I want to give my parents a kudos, a big 5.
Absolutely.
For being who they were, and encouraged me to stand up, to achieve, and to be a person in my own right. As parents, as we have parents in this room, both men and women, I would love to say that please give your children confidence to be able to go ahead and be what they have to be, whatever level. Because once as parents we don't discriminate, we make leaders of the future. Our topic is very interesting in that it's building foundations. And we all know that if you do not have a proper foundation for a building itself, the analogy is actually interesting. If you don't have a proper foundation for a building, it will crumble. So even for homes, if we don't have a proper foundation, we'll not have leaders for the future. That's all I think I would like to share for now.
Well, I think you're going to have to share just a little bit more, because what I would like to know, and I think all of us would like to know, is what has changed for women and girls today? Because you grew up in the 60s and 70s, and you said, okay, it's changing and we're seeing something. Perhaps you could even share some of the challenges that you've experienced in striving to achieve your own leadership roles and those roles that you referenced that other women in Kenya had. So a little more to share.
Thank you,
please.
Chairman. Thank you. Yes,
kindly.
I would like to share. As in my leadership roles, I would say leadership does not start by the fact that you hold a position. Leadership also starts even from our homes. Leadership starts from schools, when you are given responsibility, whatever level of responsibility you are given, you are a leader. And that leadership role comes with a lot of responsibilities, and how you perform those responsibilities determines how far people believe in you and the kind of responsibilities they're going to add and heap on you. I would say that as a person growing up in those years, I started being a leader in school. I grew up as a school prefect. I grew up as a girl guide. For those of you who are girl guides, you know what girl guide does to you. It streamlines your thinking. It streamlines your way of doing things. And those are responsibilities that I did not take slightly, but I thought they are actually part of what has shaped me. Some of the challenges that I have faced as I have grown are literally being recognized. One of the areas that I know as a woman in my country, and I think I have two other ladies in this room who can bear me witness, if we wait to be recognized for what we are, or for what we have done, or for somebody to come around and pat our backs because we have done a good job, we will probably wait for a very long time. What I do say is that do what you have to do and do it well to your best ability. Once you do that, let God and the rest of the society come back and say, well, she did a good job. But don't wait to be congratulated. So the challenge is that some people may not recognize what you're doing, but those who do are very encouraging. And because the society in some of those levels consists of a lot of men, the challenges I have as a leader is that you are leading men. All of them are waiting to see you fail. Many of them are waiting to see you fail. Not all of them, I'm sorry. Some are very encouraging. And because they are waiting to see you fail, don't give them a chance. Yes, don't give them a chance. Move on and do well what you have to do. I have seen a lot of women do succeed because most women are not looking to gain from whatever they are doing. They're usually looking to be able to do a good job. And because you want to do a good job, you find that women in most of the institutions do a lot better, profitably. They make very good profits in the companies that they operate. And I think one of my achievements in the job that I do is that the corporation that I lead has grown in leaps in the years that I have been there. I have a good team, and as a leader, you need to know that you do not know everything. You have a team that you can depend on, and you need to be able to rely on them. But you cannot rely on them unless you have given them the confidence to also trust you to lead them. Because even as you lead others, you're also leading yourself. And you recognize that there are many pitfalls, but if you have the confidence of the people and the people have confidence on you, you're going to be able to move on. One of the other challenges that I face is the expectations. You yourself, you have very high expectations. I have high expectations of myself. Other people have expectations as well. And sometimes balancing the two is a challenge, because you may put too much pressure on yourself as a leader. You may put too much pressure on others so that you can be seen to have performed. But be realistic. Know that you cannot get everything done maybe the way you would like to have it done, but you can do something and be very content with what you can be able to do. So satisfy yourself and move on. Another challenge, like you asked, is the challenge of dealing with issues, especially in times of crisis. I would say that that's the time you do not crumble as a woman. That's the time to stand up and not expect a warrior factor. It's to move on and do what needs to be done. And an example I have in point is that I've had to sack a CEO whom you're depending on, and it's a big, big issue because people want to see how you are dealing with it. And that CEO happened to be a woman. So you can understand what it was, how people view, no, women cannot work together, women are the worst enemies of one another, but a job has to be done, and it has to be done by a man or a woman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nelius. Yes, thank you very much. Poonam, if you could pass the